So that's my sorry attempt at an intro song. No. Listen to EatSleepLift.com podcast, episode number 12. Dennis
You
and
just
Jason
copied
here.
the Anthony Bourdain and
Yeah, it really sounds like it, doesn't it? It's like... Oh, wait, how does it go? It's something like that. Yeah, I was doing it the other day by accident. No reservations. It's a very easy lick, but... Yeah, let me put this away. So how are you?
Great. Let me see, 11 o'clock on a Friday night, and we are webcamming with each other. This is exactly what I wanted to do with my Friday night, is sit here in front of my computer and look at your sexy...
Well, you make it sound like I'm forcing you.
You're
You're jumping on some metallic bird and flying off to Wisconsin tomorrow. And I got home late because I was at a Muay Thai seminar. So I was at a seminar. We had the main trainer. He's out in California now, because he opened a branch out there. So he comes back like every 3 months or so.
You just scare off all your trainers, don't you? Didn't you scare off your judo trainer?
Yeah, he went off to Miami.
Yeah, you just scare people off.
I'm like a feral wolverine or bear.
You are.
But
one that has a musky scent.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Well, how was your day?
Not too bad. I actually managed to hit the gym this week.
For once in like a month or two.
Probably close to 3 weeks. Yeah, it was very weird. Everything was very tight. I just did some light squats and left. It was very weird. Weird seeing all the same people. I felt like I was walking into an unknown like camp or something. I don't know. It seems like everybody was bigger.
Yeah, you've been left behind.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like a lot of the people, all they do is just work out their arms, and they actually seem like they started working out other things. And the dude grunts and all that stuff.
That's just you.
Say what?
It's an illusion. They didn't. They're still sitting there doing bicep curls all day long.
Yeah. Well, they passed me. So, but so I got a response from Dimitri. He received the shirt, sent me a picture, and I haven't emailed him back. And now I'm gonna be posting that. You saw a picture. He looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, self shot.
One badass looking guy.
Yeah, well, he does like graphic design and stuff. But so yeah, I'll be posting that. He does graphic design and stuff.
Oh, really? Yeah. That's a nice picture you had there.
Yeah. So thanks for sending the picture.
Yeah,
I will be posting that. Posted on Facebook already. I'll be posting it on the the show notes for this podcast. I need to do that more. Post the actual notes and links for whatever we use. And then we pretty much just kind of talk uselessly.
I like that he has the power rack in the background.
Yeah. Yeah. But he asked me a question or a couple things. And one of the things I actually kind of want to talk about was strong lifts and how do you feel about them? I don't know if we might have touched on this before, but I think strong lifts is kind of a good starting point for people. You know, it kind of the guy kind of just encompassed a bunch of different training regimens into one. You know, he kind of did like 5x5s and lots of squats and all that kind of thing. I mean, have you looked at it at all, or?
What is this now?
Unbelievable!
You just
Unbelievable!
Said strong man. You said strong.
No, strong lifts. You never heard of strong lifts?
No, I have not.
Okay, well, basically, I if I'm not mistaken, I think he's Belgian. I don't know. He basically put together a workout regimen that centers around squats, and it has you squatting essentially 3 times a week, and it focuses mostly on that. And then you basically do some other exercises like some bench and like very little deadlift, but you do those kind of things. And it's a very good ramp up program for people who are just starting to work out or getting back into it. You know, essentially establishing that baseline. But it's really just a combination of a bunch of other well-known, I guess.
Where'd you find this?
I don't know how you haven't heard about it. I mean, I don't know. Do you like live under a rock and not look for anything, or?
No, I actually go to the gym.
Oh yeah, and you have no desire to expand your knowledge on anything?
I already do this. I mean,
do
I
what?
don't know what else there is. I do 5x5. That's my squat.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's basically the guy who quote unquote came up with strong lifts just combined a bunch of different regimens that are good for starting. But when you get to a certain point and you plateau, obviously you need to change. And you know, if it doesn't work for you, like if you can't squat for 3 times a week or wherever many times, because you have really tight hamstrings, you can't get down low or deep, you're gonna have to modify it. I don't know how you don't know about this. Have you ever heard of starting strength?
Yeah, that one I've heard of.
Okay, that's basically one of the regimens that this guy combined into his strong lifts, along with the 5x5. Now, have you realized that? Do you typically follow a 5x5 for most of your everything?
I change it up. I'll do a month of 5x5. I'll do a month of a like a 3x8, or a 3x6, 4x6, a 3x8, and then a 4x8. Then I have a month of 5x5s. Then I have a month of pyramids.
Yeah, so
That's
you change it up.
usually,
Now, have you
yeah.
been using your that? Have you been logging everything as extensively as you should be?
Yeah, every time my book is filled up with
Yeah. So
notes on everything
within the past 2 months, you've actually been using it
every single
legitimately.
day.
Yeah. Don't. Yeah. In the past 2 months, maybe.
Yeah, but I mean that's when I started. But
Yeah.
I've had
Well,
my
that's. Are you
notebook, and ever since I put it in my bag, I mean I keep it out every single time I go to the gym, and I make notes on everything I do.
now? Are you starting to realize the weight in gold that thing is worth?
I actually did use it to look back after I got sick and I came back. I was actually looking at it to see what I was at before I got sick, to see
Yeah.
where I was, to see where I need to get back to before I can start making gains again.
So I think that's. I mean, a lot of times people will say, "Oh, what regimen to follow." I think one of the most important things is to actually write it down, because regardless, of, like you said, you just change it up a lot, right? And when you change it up a lot, you have to look back to see what worked. Like you just said, when you get sick, and you not having worked out for 3 weeks between sickness and all that, you have to go back and you say like, well, what did I do when I had those massive gains? Well, like, well, I squatted 315, 175 times. Not really, but let's say hypothetically. So I think that's really one of those asterisk things that should be added to pretty much every regimen. I think, whether it's strong list or 5x5 or starting strength, any of those things. Now, are you looking at strong lifts or what are you looking up?
Yeah, I'm just reading. I just started reading, glancing through this his strongman. Like I don't know, just his little briefing of it, what he wants you to do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it looks like it's all 5x5s.
Yeah, that is just a lot of squatting too, which is good. I
Well,
mean,
it's squat. It's right here. I mean, it tells you squat, bench press, barbell rows, squat again, overhead press, and then deadlifts.
yeah, which are all pretty much core exercises you should pretty much have in your.
I've noticed that. Well, I've been working out. I'll actually tell you. We're gonna get into it later. But I've started working out directly with a professional powerlifter
Uh huh.
in my gym. He's like a full-fledged sponsored USA. Um, I forget what it's like, a PL or something like that, lifter,
Mm-hmm.
which is like the in those type of meets um, you can't even have caffeine in you
Oh, really?
when you do a lift. You can't have creatine. You can't have caffeine. You can't have any kind of stimulant. So like when you go up on that stage, right, and you do a big lift, right, and you walk off stage, you get a drug tester like that. You show anything, caffeine, any kind of stimulant in you, creatine at all, you are immediately banned for 2 years.
Wow. Now,
Um,
are these gear assisted competitions or are these
no,
naked
they are raw.
or raw rather,
But
not naked? That'd
I've
be
been
kind of
working out with this
weird.
guy though, and he's been giving me a lot of tips and tricks that I haven't really used, exploited yet, that I think will start taking my routines to the next level.
So,
Um,
example.
well, for example, I mean those glute ham raises I was telling you about,
Yeah, those things are monsters for your hamstrings.
yeah, glute ham raises, and then reverse hyperextensions.
Reverse hyperextensions. I can't. I'm not. I'm for some reason. It's blowing my mind right now. I can't remember what
He
those
told
are.
me if since I've never done reverse hyperextensions before, he said if I do these for a good month, he said it will add 50 pounds to my max deadlift easily,
And that's
right? Just from
that's.
starting doing these.
Oh, I think I know what these are. Hold on a second.
You basically put a band around your
I'm watching the video right now.
yeah. You should probably mute that shit.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was gonna be that loud. Okay, I
But,
see what it's kind of like if you're doing a back extension, but your upper body doesn't move; it's your lower body.
yeah, exactly. You put a band around your ankles, and then you put weights on. You're on like a machine, right? And then you put weights on the machine, and then you kind of like lay over it, and then you basically just lay there, and you bring your legs back up, kind of. I mean, it's hard to explain, but
Sorry. Yeah, yeah. It's almost like, yeah. It's like a back extension, except your back is what's stationary. It's your legs that move.
yeah, exactly. But you have to keep them straight, and you don't want to kick. That's the whole point of the whole exercise. You keep your legs straight the entire time. You don't like bend your knees to get the extra, I guess, power, and it just destroys you. Like it's like that. And so, but basically, what I've learned, what I've kind of like seen in detail, is that if, for me, example, I want to do powerlifting, right? I want to get the heaviest I can on three lifts, squat, bench and deadlift. And to do that, it's basically you just have to incorporate nothing but core exercises. Everything that you do is a core exercise. You don't really go off and just train, like one little individual muscle by
Oh
itself,
yeah,
really.
that's not. It's not bodybuilding. It's completely different from bodybuilding.
Right. Um, but working out with him, though, it's kind of like I've seen that a lot more.
Hmm. So what's a
Um,
typical, like, what's how many times, or I don't know how long you've been working out with him, but like what would be a typical workout? Just straight squats, deadlifts, and
well,
bench, or like what kind of auxiliary
I've
or
only ever done squats with him.
Mhm. What's he squatting now? I'm sure. At what point did you have to start taking off weights for him to, or putting on
Immediately.
weights for?
He's a 308 guy though, 308 pounds,
Oh, so yeah, so
and
you,
he's sponsored. I
yeah. Well,
mean,
I
what do
mean,
you
I know.
think?
I'm asking like humorously. At what point is he
Okay,
still warming up
he
and you're
was he
maxing out?
was he was still stretching with 500 pounds.
Yeah,
He was still like, all right, this is gonna stretch me out. I gotta do a set at 500 to really stretch it out now.
you're like, I was done about 200 pounds ago.
Yeah, pretty much. It's
Now I know. I mean, obviously you were sick and all, but how's your is your squad coming back up to where it was before?
already back.
Oh, is it? Okay, that's good.
Yeah, before the whole sickness thing, I was doing roughly like a 385 squat in that area with going up with intentions of going up. And then what usually I would do is I would do my weekly routine would include a 5x5 with 315.
Hmm.
Doing a 5x5 315, and then the second time I squatted during the week is usually when we would get together to squat, and we do the pyramid, and that's usually when I'd go up and do like to start off low and go
Try
up
and
to the
push
top
it.
of the
Yeah.
pyramid and do like a 1 rep max to really really wear out the legs there.
Well, yeah, you try and push through that your body's threshold and be like, hey,
Right.
you got to get used to this weight now, buddy.
And I haven't done it yet. Just well because we haven't been in the gym and I don't really trust anyone else to spot me.
That awkward ass position. Now,
Right.
are you how much? That is kind of a random question, but how much water are you drinking a day?
I've I've actually been doing pretty well. Um, for a long time, I wasn't. I was maybe getting like during the day, during the workday, I'd say, during the workday from 8:30 until 5,
Mm-hmm.
I was probably taking maybe like 12 ounces.
Which is that's beyond pitiful.
Yeah, it
That's like a
is.
Coke can.
But at the same time, man, it's annoying when you're trying to concentrate on stuff and having to get up every 10 minutes to pee.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
now do you,
so
I know this kind of now do you have to get up every so often to go to the bathroom, or do you just experience when you stand up you have to go to the bathroom? Because that'll be my problem. I'll
no,
drink so
no,
much
no,
water
no.
that I'm
I
fine, but as soon as I
I'm like
stand up, I gotta
sitting
go to the
there and I
bathroom.
I'm like have to pee and it like, hits me when I drink that much water. Like
You gotta start stretching your bladder.
when you no, it's like I don't want to be pissing myself when I'm older. When you first were like on a big water push of I drink 2 gallons a
Yeah,
day,
I well that was when I was doing
and
judo heavily. I got to like two
I started
gallons.
doing that. I started drinking a lot of water, and I got up to where I was almost at I could almost do like a gallon a day, like keep on going, almost could do it. But then it was like I'd be sitting there, and I had just gone to the bathroom, and I'd be sitting down for like 15 minutes, and all of a sudden I it was like a water hose. It's like about to start going all over myself, my pants, stuff like that.
You're
And
like
I have
a
to like run to the bathroom.
people are like, what's wrong with Jason? Is he having a problem or something? You're like a smoker. You know how smokers always go outside to take smoking breaks like every 15 minutes. And they're
Yeah,
gone for 10 minutes, so they
the
really only
pee
work like
break.
20 minutes an hour.
Yeah, I couldn't, so I quit. I quit doing it. I
So
couldn't
you
drink
just
so much
quit drinking
water.
water altogether,
But now I'm
essentially.
getting into it, but I'm doing it slowly.
I've realized
Like,
one of the best things is not necessarily chug it, but like I'll put like a Nalgene bottle on my desk, right? Because gallons have become a pain in the ass. It's like you just wouldn't even realize, but like subconscious, you just take sips of it every so often. I guess your body's like, hey, I'm thirsty, and there's water here.
mm-hmm.
Like you don't even realize it. As opposed to like if it's a gallon, you're like, I'm just gonna have to chug.
This lady at work, she just brings me, like water, not water bottles, but they shaker cups.
Uh huh.
She goes and well, not even they're not even shaker cups. They're like just like you know how people have like the stainless steel water cans or whatever that they fill
Yeah,
up.
yeah, like tin cups or stuff.
Yeah, she buys those, and then she always finds something wrong with them. So
This
she's
one's
like,
made of 98% tin.
she's like, do you want this? She goes, I don't want it because I don't, for whatever reason I don't like the color. I don't like it for whatever reason. She goes, do you want it? I don't want it. I'm about to throw it away. I'm like, what's wrong with it? She goes, oh, nothing. I just don't like the color of it or something like that.
Scrap
I'm like,
metal,
yeah.
man. That's money.
She gave me like three of these, and now they're all sitting at my desk, and I
You're
just
still
keep
making a
them
fort
filled
pretty
up.
soon. That's kind of
I
funny.
just I just keep them filled up during the day.
No,
But
but yeah, you should. So, are you, I mean, what do you? I mean, do you like have to go to the water cooler? Or what are you doing? Do you have like a water gallon or what? Because that's one of the things I found is it's kind of a pain in the ass to drink from like say a water gallon that you buy at the store. One because a lot of times the caps aren't screw on. So like if it's the cap, you're gonna spill that shit everywhere. If it's in your
yeah.
trunk or something.
But fortunately, the place I work at is like really, up on keeping I guess everyone hydrated. And
Hmm.
so there's like a water fountain like 10 feet away from me.
Everybody's got a hose running into their cubicle. It's
It's
like
like no,
a
everyone at my company has little hamster
it's like
bottles
a
with a
little camel.
on the bottom. They reach over, they start licking it. Yeah,
You guys, everybody's like, all right, guys, we're gonna introduce the employee walkabout ball. It's
no,
like
no,
a walking ball. You just
that's how we produce electricity for our company. Is we have the hamster wheel.
that would be
Everyone takes a turn after lunch to run the hamster wheel to burn off calories
that would
and
be kind of interesting though. Like if you had, say, like on a factory floor or even where you're at, almost like a little treadmill that you can work and walk in place and generate. Or like how people have like they have like there's a stationary like desk bikes. They use those for physical therapy a lot too. Like you can sit in a chair and you can pedal. You ever seen those?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I think I'd go for the medicine balls or whatever
The Bosu balls or whatever they're
that
called.
you can get.
To sit on.
Yeah, to sit on it, and apparently it helps strengthen your core
My
when you're sitting
coworker
there at
wants to
work.
do that, and I'm thinking like I don't know if I want to sit in a chair like that for 8 hours a day. Like that just seems painful. Like you ever try to just sit on the floor and you're just like I need to lean against something.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they've done enough studies where like standing desks, like standing is incredible for your health.
A guy has one at my work.
Or
They built him a standing desk.
did he build it or they built it?
Or well, we built it for him.
Or
I
like
didn't
out of
build
like
him for him,
scrap
but
wood or
someone
some
at my
shit?
company built it for him. But no, he has a dual monitor setup. His dual monitor setup is on like these little like hydraulic like lifts or
I was gonna
whatever.
say yeah, I've seen really awesome desks at like some tech companies where like they can sit down or they stand up and they hit a button and it raises it to the level that they have it set to and whatnot. It's really
Yeah,
cool.
that's what this guy has. I mean, he just did it for a health reason because he's old and he has like a bad back and he can't sit down.
Yeah, well, it helps. It's good for everybody.
But yeah, he has it up there and it moves up wherever he wants it. It's pretty cool.
Speaking of old, my grandfather went to the doctor. My grandfather now I think is 84, and he's in such like good health. And the doctor's like, "Do you weight train or anything at all?" He's like, "No."
Your
But the thing is, he works and he works at Publix frying chicken. Publix is like I guess
grandfather works at Publix?
yeah, he's been working there like ever since my grandmother died, oof, like 10 years now. Yeah, and
At the
he's
Publix right by your house?
yeah, he's the guy who fries the chicken. And
Really?
yeah, so like he doesn't like quote unquote lift weights, but he's always like lifting heavy boxes and putting stuff here and there. So he's very active with that regard. And it was very interesting because there's a lot of studies talking about how older people should weight train to reduce degenerative muscle.
Mm-hmm.
You know how although there was also that study a while back. Remember where they were talking about they came up with there was some super gene or something that they could basically make people's muscle grow. I remember that. I don't know if you remember that. They're talking about like how it could be helpful for people with muscular dystrophy, old people. Because that's one of the reasons old people like have falls and stuff and break their hips because their muscles are disintegrating.
Well, on a side note, did you see that thing where scientists have been able to create synthetic muscle fibers?
Yes, I actually posted it on the Eat Sleep Lift subreddit.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, it's something that was like 200 times stronger, and in my head I'm kind of like,
200 times stronger than
in my head I'm kind of like,
a
well, no shit.
person's
I mean,
regular muscle fiber. Yeah,
I mean, I don't see how it wouldn't be stronger. Everything we make that's, or a lot of things that we make
synthetic.
artificial are stronger.
Yeah.
But then at the same
Imagine it
time,
though. Think about it. Think about it. If I'm benching, let's say 405, right, and all of a sudden I have these synthetic muscle
oh
fibers
Jesus,
implanted. I mean, 200 times 405. You know,
yeah. Well, yeah, it's a huge factor.
we're gonna
Now,
have to like separate people from that have synthetic muscles versus non-synthetic
yeah, well,
in
actually,
weightlifting competitions.
somewhat uh two things. One thing would be like I wonder, if people if it eventually gets to a point where people can do like implants, let's say, and they would just do it to their chest because they want, let's say, a ridiculous bench press. I wonder how horribly they'd fail because they don't have that tissue in other muscles. You know what I'm saying? Like the supportive muscles.
Hmm.
I wonder how that would work.
All the small muscles that you don't think
Yeah,
about.
because you get so like halfway up, and then that's when your delts start kicking in, and you don't have the delts, and all of a sudden that 6,000 pounds comes crashing down and kills them. But you played Deus Ex, right? Yeah, you played Deus Ex. So that with the whole
Yeah,
like that was one of the things. There was the people who were, what would they call them? Were like the modded people,
I forgot.
or oh, what did they call them? Yeah, it was basically the premise is there was normal people who had no, I guess, synthetic or upgrades, quote unquote, they call them. I don't know. Oh, what do they call them? And the people, yeah, who could have like ridiculously strong muscles or eye implants and stuff like that. We'll eventually get to that. So it's kind of interesting playing this kind of sci-fi novels or movies. And well, they always say sci-fi tends to lead the technology, like Star Trek and all the tablets and stuff they used to have on there, which we have now with
But
iPads and such.
it was like funny. If you ever seen some of the movies from like the 70s that are like all these futuristic, like
Oh,
space movies.
we're supposed to have hovering
And
cars
no,
now
well,
by now.
think about it. It's one of the movies. It was funny because they had a little tablet, a little pad that they were doing all their, touching it and
Uh
like
huh.
typing on it and doing all this like that. Now this was like in the 70s, okay? Like early 70s movies are like that. It looked exactly like what an iPad does today.
Oh yeah, it's like a Manila folder smaller than that type of thing. Yeah, the only difference I remember seeing explicitly in Star Trek. Not even I didn't even watch Star Trek, but he had like essentially the same size thing, but it was a clear display. It was like an LCD or a clear OLED essentially. He was like, oh, blip, 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 and it would just hold everything. Yeah, technology's pretty crazy.
So, what was the rest of the story about your grandfather? Anything, or are you just letting me know that he was in
No, it
excellent
just
shape?
that I think if you just do any medial type of weightlifting or exercises, why even in your old age, I think it's beneficial. Because I mean, when you look at my grandfather's diet, all he's basically had is, or all he basically eats, or one of the staples of here in this house, apparently, is rice and carbs, which aren't necessarily the best, especially if you're like bodybuilding stuff. You try to cut
Did
carbs
you,
out.
did you, I don't know if you ever heard this before, but I was talking to, we're going back to the whole powerlifting people I know. The one guy that's three, he's a, huge guy, been around for a long time. There's this other guy. Now, he's a personal trainer, but he also does competitive powerlifting around the world. And he always tells me all these stories about the people that he knows in the powerlifting community around the world, stuff like that, and their different take on, nutrition, workouts, like that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I wasn't really listening to him or talking to him directly. Um, the other night, he was talking to my friend. I was busy working out because the previous time he came up and talked to me for like an hour during my
Oh,
workout,
this is,
and
yeah. I remember you talked about it last week.
I was like, I like had to leave because there just wasn't in it anymore. And so this time he came up and he started talking, and I just continued with my workout. But I heard him talking about one of this powerlifter who doesn't believe in eating carbs,
Uh huh.
will not eat carbs at all, zero carbs.
Does he eat vegetables or anything?
I don't know,
He
just nothing but
must.
carbs.
Well, I mean that I mean you can go without eating carbs, as carbs as we know them. Essentially, I mean, you just eat vegetables. You just think is you just have to eat a fuck ton of vegetables.
I just want to know how you can do powerlifting and not eat carbs.
Your body gets used to it. You'd be
Well, I
surprised.
know that, but I mean, and it's not essential. Your body will make carbs one way or another, but I mean, it's
Well,
still like
you can't really make carbs. You're just gonna change your fuel
it's
source.
going to replace it.
Well, yeah.
Is what
Well,
I'm
he's
saying.
he's probably following more along the lines of like a paleo diet, where it's a lot of meat and a lot of vegetables and maybe a little bit of fruit. So, a lot of high fat, high protein, and then once you're gonna use that carbs a little bit for those fast, that fast energy burns you need, but your body switches basically to fat.
Well, it was just interesting to hear that because I mean, I'm a big believer in you know doing a post-workout carb spike.
Yeah, you're crazy.
I mean, I think that helps a lot. So it was just interesting to hear that some guy out there, obviously a lot more well known than me, a lot more bigger than I am, that doesn't take in carbs at all.
Well, I think a lot of it depends too. I think somewhat on cultures because I remember they did a study on the Mongolians. They're the nomads out in Mongolia, and they expect them to be extremely unhealthy because all they eat is essentially like fermented milk and cheeses and meat. That's all they eat because they can't grow any vegetables out there or anything, and they're nomadic, and they were perfectly healthy. Weren't lacking anything. No deficiency in vitamins or
Where's that
anything.
one place where it's like I want to say I just saw it. It was like an island of people that has like the highest average like age. It's like
Japan?
an average age of like everyone's like 100 and like the average age there is like 100 and like 10 or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
No, it's a real place.
I don't know. I have no idea. Is it
But
like one of
they
those
have
like?
like all these people that go there and they try to figure out like what they're eating to stay this healthy
Is it
and
like a
stuff.
jungle people type of thing?
I think it's in like some remote area in like
Mogadishu?
China, I want to say.
No, it's not Mogadishu. That's a shithole.
I don't even know what Mogadishu is.
Mogadishu?
I don't know what Mogadishu is,
I'm pretty
where it is.
sure that if I'm not mistaken, Mogadishu is like oh man, where is it? I think it's one of the cities or regions in what's that one place where all the pirates or Mogadishu is I think is basically pirate central over in what's that country? All those
Somalia?
Somalia, yes. My it's funny how my geography I've literally forgotten everything. I used to be able to see like a map and tell you every country and everything and this capital. Now I look at a map I'm like, where's Canada? But yeah, Mogadishu is like the pirate city of Somalia.
Or maybe.
Yeah. Did you ever see that South Park
Like that kind
episode?
of pirate?
Hmm? You ever
You
see
say like
us?
that kind of pirate?
More like the pirate goes la, 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 and like shoots you. Give us all your money. Give us your money. Have you ever seen the weapons that it's like rusted old AKs and RPGs and everything?
Hey man, you gotta work with what you have, I guess.
Yeah.
Not everyone can be the USA.
It's just I find it shocking that like a little boat of like, 6 or 7 guys can board a massive tanker and essentially take the crew hostage.
Yeah, but what do they? I mean, before all this happened, what would a tanker really carry around?
Dude, it's a tanker.
Yeah, but there's like 5 people on it,
I know, and there's 5 people on the little boat.
but they have guns and RPGs.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, how could 5 people who clearly the corporations manning them have enough money to at least equip those guys with self protection or hire 3 or 4
Well, they
people
started doing that.
ex
They started
military?
hiring, like whatever you want to call them, escorts that would go on the ships with guns with them.
I mean, you can see those guys coming for a while. You just give a guy a good rifle who knows how to use one. And, I don't know. They're not going to get very
Have you ever
close.
seen the YouTube videos of I don't know whose ships it were, who it was the U.S. or if it was someone else's ships that were out there and they had a boat and they basically like they had one of the what's the
The 50s.
guns on the front that shoot like a million rounds a second. You know what they call the
The
phalanx? I think it's
the
the
were they the
phalanx.
cannons or were they like a 50s?
No, it was like a 50, but I think it's the phalanx that basically just I mean rips out. I don't know how many thousands of rounds it is, a minute or whatever
Oh,
that,
I
but
think I may have seen that video.
it goes. Zzz.
Yeah,
and then just all these rounds come out, and they go out this little Somalian boat, and the boat just explodes
yeah,
in like 2 seconds.
I think I have seen that.
Yeah,
Well, what's cool is like I know the Coast Guard employs it. I think the Navy does too, but not as much. Where they'll basically have snipers with 50s, and what they do is they'll shoot up the engine block on a motor when people like trafficking drugs. They're like stop the boat, and they give like warning shots, and when they don't, they just shoot out the engine block from a flying helicopter.
yeah, those guys are good.
Yeah, which is and it's just funny because you would never think like the Coast Guard is that kind of doing those kind of tactics and like yeah we just shot out and like it's actually a lot easier for farther out because it gives a steadier shot than if we're close. Like we prefer to
There
be
was this
300,
funny
400
story. My
meters out.
coworker, he's a big, really big deep sea fisherman,
Mm-hmm.
and every year he goes down to the Keys, and he tells me this story all this time, and it's hilarious every single time. Um, Him and his friends were out there fishing somewhere, off the coast of Key West, and there was just this buoy just floating in the middle of nowhere. You know,
Had like 40 pounds of cocaine attached to it.
no. Well, what happened was is they went up to it, right, and they start yanking on it, and it's not moving,
There's a
nothing's
body.
moving at all. And his friend was like, "Hey, man, we should tie off with your boat and try to pull this up, whatever it is, whatever's attached to it." And they're like, no, let's not do that. Well, yeah, it was a good thing because apparently, like a few minutes later, a nice big destroyer kind of like pulls up behind them, and yeah, they were basically on top of a submarine that had deployed a buoy to mark out where they were, um, and they were pulling on the submarine.
Oh, it's just like, oh my god, it's a whale. Holy shit, it's a submarine.
Yeah,
Like, the submarine's probably been like submerged for like 4 months and like haven't seen sunlight. Like, yay! Oh, we just wrecked the ship. God damn it. That's funny.
yeah.
Now you, we on that massive tangent. Now you were telling me you switched from using the power rack to those little what do you call them?
For just
Basic.
one night.
Oh, one night. But you said it helped you though. Now were the stands connected or were they just kind of like free stands almost like kind of
No,
like tire jacks?
um, no, they're connected together, but it wasn't like a power rack or anything.
Yeah, I know what you're talking. Yeah, I know what you're talking. It's just kind of like there's basically two stands on
Yeah,
either side, and you just rest the bar on it.
yeah. That's I mean, basically for everyone out there that's listening to this, it is just a minimalist construction that all it has is just basically just two hands that go straight up that connect to a base. But there's no power rack, there's no spots, there's no safety bars. It's just literally just two little kind of like hands that come up and hold the bar there.
So you had no
Um,
safety bars on the sides, like no safety
Nothing.
other things on the side.
It was right in the middle of the gym, and he always uses it. He never uses the power racks. He always uses this little, just
Mm-hmm.
the thing that
Well,
holds
when
the
you do that
bar.
much weight and you have to bail, and probably break the power rack.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know, but no. He was like, this is when I worked out with him, and he was like, "Hey, man, you want to work out?" I'm like, "Sure, I'll do squats with you." I mean, I was going to be taking off a lot of weight. He's like, "Oh, don't worry about it." And I was like, "I've never been on this machine, or I've never used this. I've always used a power rack before." He goes, "Oh, this is great. I hate the power racks. I can't put my hands where I want to on the power racks." He goes, I don't use the power racks, anyways. He's because when I do competitions, we're not in power racks. Um, and I mean, there's a lot of good points to why he uses it, and I actually liked it a lot more. Um, I could put my hands basically the entire length of the bar, and I put them, I braced them against the plates.
Uh huh.
So like I put my hands all the way to the end of the bar, and then kind of like wrap my thumb and index finger around the bar, but put the rest of my hand against the plates.
That's a
Uh,
really wide grip, like
yeah,
really wide.
but I mean, I don't know. It felt better than when I'm on a power rack and I have to put my my grip kind of narrow on the bar.
Now, how did you manage to create that like shelf where when you that you were, with your lats where you basically rest the bar when you do in squats? How did you even do that at all? Like, how did you control those weights? Because that's I mean
That's what I'm
that's a
saying.
really wide grip.
When when I picked it up, and you stand up straight with the bar on your back. To me, I could easily control it and let it go down to the depth I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was basically the more you let it slide down your back, the more natural resistance my kind of like shoulders and arms generate against the bar to hold it against my back tighter.
Hmm.
So to me, it was more stable when it was actually going down, the lower on my back it went than it was in the top.
See, because I agree with the low on the back, but I can't when I stretch like at least for myself when I have my arms that far out, it relaxes my lats, so I can't have it rest like it doesn't rest there. It just ends up sliding literally, and I'd have to bail eventually if it's a really heavy weight.
You're, you're gonna have to try it.
Oh, I'll try it.
Um,
I mean, it's I've seen it at your
the-
gym. There's that red one. That's
yeah,
like
that's what we
yeah,
used.
yeah.
That's what we used. That was the one. Um, but to me, I mean, it made the weight much more easy to control, and it was easier for me because I didn't have to have it really high up on my like shoulders and traps, I guess, like I was before when I had the narrower grip on the bar,
Mm-hmm.
which to me resulted in just a much smoother, more I guess fluent squat. Um, I don't know. It was much more pleasant feeling in position because even when I'm doing squats with a narrow grip, sometimes my like shoulders or something like that decides to start cramping up or something starts hurting, midway through.
Mm-hmm.
I even had, I maybe haven't stretched out enough or something like that, but this would kind of help with that a lot.
Hmm.
It was definitely different, and it was scary at first because you had no catches. I mean, if you were going down, you were going down with it.
Well, that's where you have to. That's where you have to know how to bail, though.
that's
But
what
it's one of those
that's
things that's kind
yeah.
of hard. You can't really practice bailing.
Well, it was funny because the guy had 500 pounds on, and he was like, "All right, I'm gonna need you to spot me on this one." I'm gonna go down really low because I don't know if I'll make it back up. And
You're
I'm
like, well, I'm
like,
not gonna help you.
I'm like, you
I don't know
weigh
if you
you
can.
weigh 310 pounds. The bar on your back weighs 500. I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna be able to pick up 800, pounds with my biceps. I
Well,
was like, you're bailing.
you're bailing.
I'm
That's
like, I'm gonna
funny.
run away from you as fast as I can. You're gonna drop it.
Hmm.
But no, that was yeah, that was Wednesday. I think Wednesday night when I did that, and
Mm-hmm.
that's when I'm getting back into it. I did Sunday. I went and did a 5x5 at 315 for my squats, and that felt good. And then that night I did the same thing, another 5x5 with 315. Um, except this time we were actually practicing um, red lights and white lights for competition.
Yeah. So if you
Cause
if you don't know what that is, essentially, when you power lift, you have what three judges,
yeah,
and you're either white lighter, which is essentially green lighter, or red lighter. Red lighter means you didn't uh, accomplish the lift. So like, let's say if you're squatting, you didn't go to parallel. Is it parallel or past parallel?
basically what the guy told me for a good rule of thumb is if you put a marble on your knee, that marble has to roll backwards towards you
Mm-hmm.
for it to count.
So yeah. So if
So
you
you're
can't do
going
that, it's gonna
slightly
be
past parallel.
yeah. So if you don't do that, it's gonna be red lighted. But if you do succeed, it's gonna be white lighted. Or like in a deadlift, where if you don't lock out your knees on the pinnacle of the lift or the top of the lift, it's gonna get red lighted as well.
And
Um,
no cranking on the no hitching, I guess,
yeah.
on the deadlifts.
Mm-hmm.
But no, we spent he was like, "Oh, you want to practice, I'm like, "Yeah." I was like, "I'm getting really, conflicted views on what constitutes a clean powerlifting squat." I was like, "I have some guys that tell me you have to go all the way down until you can possibly not go down any further. I have some guys that are telling me, hey, you only have to go parallel." I was like, "I need to know what is the right depth for a clean squat." And he said there is some give and take depending on the judge you have. He goes, if you go down and some judges will give you parallel, or some guys are going to be a hard ass and make you, go down pretty far. He goes, it's pretty much dependent upon the kind of judge you have, but it's not going to be, you're gonna have to work hard though to get a, heavy lift. It's not like it's going to be easy, that much easier to, parallel or slightly past parallel.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so we just spent basically that entire time we at my 5x5s when I got to my 5x5s. Every time I went down, he was like, okay, that was a white light. That one you were way too deep. You're wasting energy right there. He goes, you went way too deep on that one. He told me, he goes, going deep is fine when you're training. He's like, but if you go too deep on a competition, you're just wasting energy that you could have used later on. Um, so he said, yeah, he said like basically just you need to here you go, this is where it is, um, and you kind of set a clear defined area of where you want to be when you actually do a lift for it to be, a good lift.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and then on a side note, we actually, how my left knee starts shaking during heavier squats.
Yeah. Your left knee starts to shake and you start to lose the grip on your left hand bar,
Yeah,
where you're literally holding it with your
we
fingertips.
we solved that as well.
What'd you
He
do?
goes, I didn't do anything. I mean, I was shaking, but he goes, towards the last set, I was getting kind of tired, and I was still doing the weight fine, but I was straining more than usual. And he goes, yeah, you look great every single set. He goes, but I've noticed on this one that your left knee started flashing, during the last couple of reps there. He goes, what's that all about? I'm like, I have no idea, man. It just happens. And he goes, you're off balance somewhere. And he goes, I've noticed that you put your right foot about a half inch in front of your left foot when you squat. And he goes, that's what's causing that.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, because your body is trying to balance out the load. And he goes, you have an imbalance right now. You're putting more weight on your left foot, which causes the flashing because it's trying to keep up with your right foot
Hmm.
when you're doing your squats. And I said, yeah, I do the same thing on deadlifts, on heavy deadlifts. When I do a heavy deadlift, I always put my right foot about a half inch in front of my left foot, as I don't notice the flashing when I'm doing deadlifts, but I do notice when I'm doing squats. He goes, yeah, you got to be in balance. And he was like, so you need to work on balancing and keeping your feet together, not together, but in line with each other when you're lifting. And it was actually hard because Wednesday I did the squats. Uh, the very next day I did deadlifts, and I noticed that I was like warming up, and I was doing like a warm ups with like 315, and I looked down. I was actually at the very top of the deadlift. I was sitting there, holding the bar, and I looked down to start, bringing the bar back down. I looked down, and there was my right foot about a half inch in front of my left foot.
And you know what's funny is I know you've pointed it out to me before on the squat. So you know what I'm gonna start to do is I'm gonna go out and get some masking tape and just lay a piece on the floor. And just
Yeah, I mean,
basically
yeah.
line up your feet with that masking tape and over. I mean, obviously you'll be able to notice when you're off, and I guess and eventually subconsciously you'll establish the the muscle and the recognition and the memory of just lining up straight.
Yeah,
Huh.
it was weird though because when I first started, I adjusted it and it felt very weird. It didn't feel normal.
Oh yeah, because your
Um,
body's not used to it.
it's like, why are you doing this?
Huh. That's
But
really interesting, actually.
huh?
That's really interesting. I never thought about that. I mean, you thought
Yeah,
about it, you think about it, but don't you don't recognize it, kind of thing. I'm gonna try it tomorrow. I'm gonna take a note, and go get some masking tape.
yeah. It was
Maybe I'll
it
make a
was
video if I can
it
find a
was
pen around here.
crazy. But no, that's his only thing. He's like, other than that, you look good, doing good. He's like, just keep it up. He actually invited me to a powerlifting to compete in a powerlifting meet with him, and it's one of those. It's more. I think it's more like one of those like really high ranked ones. You have to
Mm-hmm.
like pay to get in. A lot
Yeah,
of
you pretty much have
entrance
to pay for
fees.
all of them.
Huh?
You pretty much have to pay for all of them. And I still haven't found out about the one at my gym in December. Every time I ask somebody, I mean, I haven't asked in about a month, but every time I ask somebody, nobody really knew anything. It's like, oh, you gotta ask this guy, you gotta ask that guy, and it's like, oh, I don't know, it's not really final yet. So I'll try to find out this coming week, see what's up with that, because
Yeah,
that'd
you
be
should do
interesting to just
that.
at least go see, go watch.
Why not compete?
I don't have the numbers to compete anymore.
What is it? I thought you said it was just like a deadlift.
It's a powerlifting meet.
Oh, it's a full on. I thought they just
Yeah, no,
deadlift
it's a
something
straight
like
up
that.
powerlifting meet.
Oh,
Yeah,
that'd
they
be
talk about like
fun.
there's guys. Yeah, I remember one of the guys telling me, yeah, the guys lifting like 1,000 pounds and stuff.
I
But
don't believe it.
I don't see why not. I mean, I don't know, But I mean, that guy wasn't very athletic. So, um, but yeah. So Thanksgiving is this coming week. So that means a lot of people are going to be eating a lot of food. Do you tend to pick out Thanksgiving, or no? Are you just kind of like,
No, I eat as much as I normally do. I
nah?
mean, I eat it for a more extended period of time.
Mm-hmm.
Like you'll start Thanksgiving. I don't know when people start it. Like 12 or whatever, like that, 1 or 2.
Yeah, the early feast.
Right. So I mean, like usually my Thanksgiving day goes something like this: you get up, you make a breakfast, and then all the women sleep away all day in the kitchen,
Yeah, yeah. Well, because the reason I ask is
while the guys sit there and watch football.
you're gonna eat. A lot of people tend to eat a lot, like me, and then you immediately regret it, and you feel like you should just go stick your finger down your throat.
Oh,
But
funny
don't do
thing
that.
today, I did that today.
You stuck your
Not,
finger down
not,
your
no,
throat.
did not do that, but I regretted eating it for lunch. And when or Friday is my
Cheat
go
day.
out for lunch day.
Mm-hmm.
Go out, we all my coworkers and I go out, and we go out someplace. They wanted barbecue today, and I didn't get anything bad. It was like a pulled pork sandwich, but it just felt heavy in my stomach after I was done eating, and I felt sluggish like the rest of the day. And I was like, dude, there must have been some crazy amount of carbs or something like that, or calories in what I ate. And so when dinner came around, I was like, man, I need to get something healthy. So I went to like Vietnamese um, Vietnamese restaurant. I got some pho soup, with some chicken in there, some kind of like
Mm-hmm.
clean me out or something. Put a lot of that
Sriracha.
is it sriracha
Sriracha.
sauce?
Sriracha.
Yeah, put a lot of that stuff in there, clean me right out.
Yeah. Well, like I've noticed little I don't want to say little tricks, but if you eat a lot, um, well, for one thing, just try to do like air squats or something. Like if you don't have any weights that you can do like cleans with, just do air squats, push-ups, like really intense exercise to get those carbs like kind of pumping and not being stored. That helps. I did that one year for Christmas. Like I ate like a beast that day, but I didn't gain any weight because I kept doing like cleans after I ate. So I'm like, shit, I feel really bad. I'm like, ah. So
Just
that
doing
works.
cleans with what?
Well, I had that. That's when I had my weights here. So I like eat like a piece of pie and I go outside and I do like 10 cleans or something. I was like, oh, I feel better.
What happened to your bar?
Well, it's outside, but it's in the garage now. It's all that shit. I have to go sell it.
You should keep the bar,
Well, I do
keep the
plan on keeping the
weights,
bar, but I don't use it at
sell
all.
that one contraption you have, and get a power rack.
I'm not gonna work out here. Working out at home doesn't. It worked for me for a while, but considering my schedule, I wouldn't have time. It's one of those like once you get home, you're like, you're tired, you're not gonna do it. Which is one of the arguments I have for not having a home gym.
I
You have
get,
to be really dedicated to it.
but what?
If you have a home gym, it's very hard when you get home to not work out. Because like,
For me, it'd be easier.
huh?
For me, it'd be a lot easier. I hate getting home
Oh no, I
at
mean,
like
I
6:30 at night and having to jump in my car and drive 20 minutes to the gym,
oh I
which I
agree.
do every night though.
Well, that's the only reason I have my gym membership because it's on the way home. Um, but yeah, if you it is easier, but at the same time, it's much more difficult. Because like I said, once you get home, you're like, I don't really feel like working out today, or I'll work out later, or oh, I want to watch this TV show or something, and it gets in the way. Like I mean, I did it for a year, and then it started to taper off just because you start to lose that motivation, especially if you work out by yourself and don't have anything else to
Yeah, I
to
guess
push
working
you.
out by yourself would do it, but I've never really had a problem with the motivation part. I mean, I'm like I gotta go to the gym,
Yeah. Well, you'll reach a
and
point where like, well, obviously with my equipment, I reached a point where I couldn't push beyond it. So and then it also gets to the point where like, to you get to a point where you're lifting so much weight where you have to keep buying weights, and that also becomes somewhat expensive at the same time as
the
well.
weights are expensive. It's like $1 a pound.
Yeah. And once you start doing 400, 500 pounds, you got to keep buying 45-pound plates.
But
Or
you already have 400. How many pounds do you have?
yeah, I think I have like 7 or 8 45-pound plates maybe. It's not
Yeah,
like
you're at
400 pounds.
405.
Yeah. And then the 35s and 25s and all that.
Yeah.
So I mean, I do have the stuff, but I mean, I have a gym now, so or a
I
gym
don't
that
know.
I
The
can go to.
the personal trainer at my gym was telling me about the one of the top um, powerlifters in the world who lives in Orlando, Florida. Does nothing but train out of his home gym, and all he
Oh no,
has
you can do it.
is a power rack and a reverse hyperextensions machine. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it's not doable. It's just it's very difficult to you have to be very dedicated. Maybe the guy maybe he's married and he really hates his wife. That's his way to getting
Then
outside.
you need to get married and to a woman that you hate.
That doesn't sound pleasant
Well,
at all.
doesn't it really kind of happen immediately afterwards?
I don't know. I haven't been married, so I don't know. Um, but yes, kind of on a side note, I'm kind of thinking of doing this segment of "Don't Be a Dick." I know we kind of talked about it a little bit before. So the other day when I was squatting, I was telling you before a little bit. I'm squatting and these two jackasses decide to show up, and the power rack at the gym it's like double sided, so you can literally face each other. And I'm sitting there and I start doing squats. And these guys decide to do pull ups right in front of me, so I'm literally staring right at their shit while they're like I'm trying to concentrate. It's very unnerving. And every time I'd wait for them to finish or not be doing their thing, I'm like, all right, I set up, take the bar off the rack. The next thing I know, they're doing pull ups again. Look what a bunch of jackasses. I almost screamed at them, but I didn't because I'm too much of a wuss.
Yeah, you are.
I could have taken them on too. Like the fat fucks.
Please, sir, don't put your penis in my face. I don't
Well,
like it.
yeah. Well, I mean, it's because when you're squatting, you might not even be staring at them. You're just kind of like that. That you're kind of lost in space kind of thing. But it looks like you're staring right at them, and it's just then you come back to, and you're like, oh Jesus.
But see, that's another thing. I don't know who would be that inconsiderate
I
that they would do that.
And they're shaking the rack because they're just a bunch of fat guys. I mean, they had to have his buddy help him hold his legs while he did like 3 or 4 pull-ups. I was like, dude, if you're that out of shape, go use the assisted pull-up machine, in the corner. Like, good gosh.
Go to the girl side of the gym.
Well, yeah. Yeah. That's where all the machines tend to be, yeah.
Where everything's assisted.
Yeah. But, yeah, so that's that. Yeah.
So that's your
that's
one.
don't be a
we
dick.
we should make a segment into this called Dennis's angry segment.
I'm gonna tell you, really. It'd be like just like what was the guy who died? Andy
It
Rooney.
really grinds my
It
gears.
grinds my gears, and guys stick their dicks in my face in the gym.
Fat guys stick their dick in your
It's
face.
kind of like when someone asks you to spot them on a bench, you're like, well, this is gonna be awkward.
No.
Well, what do you mean no? You've never
I-
spotted or somebody who is gonna struggle with the weight, and like you have to hold it, and you're basically all up in their face.
I mean,
Like, oh, this is weird. Especially those weird benches where like they jut out so you can't even like stand underneath the bar kind of thing. You know what I'm talking about. Don't pretend like you don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
no,
Jackass.
it's funny because that's how my gym is. The bench is, you have to, if you spot some guy, you're basically you're putting your
Yeah,
balls right on his
yeah.
eyes.
Yeah, it's
It's
you're
very
teabagging
awkward.
them. It's like
And,
Halo all over again. It's like, hey,
Well,
and then
well,
they just
I
end
had
up
this,
losing the drop.
There's this funny moment in the gym where there's these two gay guys working out together, right? And they decided to do the bench press, yeah, they got a little friendly with putting each other's balls in each other's face. They kind of enjoyed it a little
And
bit.
you were just sitting there observing, right?
I wasn't sitting in the bench next to them. I was laughing the entire time.
You're such a jackass.
How am I a
You're
jackass?
such
Did I
a
ask that?
discriminatory, masturbatory jackass.
You want me to go up and be like, hey, excuse me, guys, quit sucking each other's dicks in the gym. I don't appreciate it.
That is inappropriate. I'm gonna have to bleep that out now.
I hope you do.
You gotta do like a little every time you say something.
You should do that. Please do.
I should.
And a rooster sound would be appropriate considering the
And
content.
this is coming from you who a while back was like, why is the show inappropriate? You're like, you should just not curse.
But I gave
And
up.
you're
I
talking
gave
about
up because you make it inappropriate every single time.
oh really?
The
Really?
last like 3 times I've tried to say not one cuss word, not one
Really?
inappropriate thing.
I'm
You drop the F-bomb like
I'm-
5 times each show.
I don't think so.
Okay, go listen to the last
I
one.
think I
Go
will.
listen to the
I
last
think I
one.
will. I'm gonna count.
It was like in 10 minutes you did.
10 minutes.
10 minutes in, you're like,
Mm.
F this, man, F that. Okay, so then so you determine whether the show is inappropriate or not.
What? Oh, I'm
Yeah.
gonna go back and I'm gonna using FCC rules. I'm gonna see who would get us more infractions.
Go ahead. You
Oh,
go ahead and do
well,
it
'cause
because
I don't
you're
give
the
a
first
sh- I don't-
person
I don't care
to
enough.
violate it every single show.
Yeah, but there's a difference between saying shit and being like, yeah, you guys are all sucking each other off. bench press.
I didn't say that.
Yes, you just said you guys are getting off friendly, sticking each other's balls in each other's faces.
That's
Whatever.
but you brought it up. You brought it
I
up.
didn't. I didn't bring up the
You
guys.
brought up penises and faces.
No, I said it gets
like 5 minutes
uncomfortable.
ago.
I said it gets uncomfortable when you have to spot somebody on the bench that you don't know. It's already uncomfortable with somebody
You
do
were talking
know.
about that. You were talking about them doing pull-ups and their penises were in your face. Go listen to it again. You said
I
the guy's
am gonna
penis was in
listen
my
to it.
face.
I don't know if I said. Well, penis is actually the correct scientific term. So
You
there
don't
you
know
go.
if I work out with roosters in my gym. There may be cocks everywhere. You don't know that.
Or coxswains. A lot of coxswains everywhere. You know what a coxswain is?
No, no
No, you
idea.
don't. Of course you don't. You're not well learned.
I am not.
You don't even know what the hell strong lifts was.
I
Jackass.
don't.
Coxswain is the guy when you see guys in a boat. He's the guy yelling, row, row, row. The guy who
Your
keeps the
boat
pace.
gently down the stream.
Yep. Merrily, merrily, merrily. Mary had a lamb. Yeah. So that's that. So yeah, I don't know if there's going to be a show next week.
We're not done talking about don't be a dick.
Well, what else do you have? I don't have any other don't be a dick moments. Oh, wait, I take it back. Today at the Muay Thai class, I'm working. I don't know how I ended up working out with this kid. This kid's like, I don't know, maybe 18 max. And he's like, oh, if I do the full thing, I won't be able to control myself and I might hit you. I'm like, how do you not have control of your I mean, we're doing things like really slow motion, like we're throwing elbows and stuff. He's like, how do you not have control? Like I would get within a centimeter of his face and I'd stop. He actually hit me at one point. I was like, I'm good, don't worry. I actually ended up putting it in my mouthpiece and shit. I was like, I don't know if I trust this kid. But yeah, so that was that.
So
Don't
that's
be a
your other
dick.
angry moment for
Don't
the
be
day.
a dick. Don't control yourself. Control your body. Learn to control it. I'm done. What else you got? I got nothing else. And don't be a dick.
Oh my goodness.
I got nothing. What do you got? Do you have any don't be a dicks?
Well, I figure since it's your segment, I figure I wrote them. You could read them.
No, I don't care. It's not quote unquote my segment. It's just
It is your
It's
angry
just-
segment.
it's just
Then
a,
it's his
it's just
angry
a,
segment of the day.
I feel like we should be playing like little music.
You can. I'm sure you can edit it in there.
I'll just play it while you say yours if you have any.
I'll leave them for you to say. I'll leave them for you to talk about.
It's not mine. You wrote something. Don't walk in front of
let's just
someone
leave
while
'em-
they're
I just want to leave
lifting.
them for next show because we're already at like an hour and something minutes now.
57 minutes.
Huh?
You got 2.5 minutes to finish
Well,
this episode.
we still have. So next week when we do our show next week,
If
which
there is a
hopefully
show
will be
next
a
week.
live show.
If I'm not hunting
We
or
still
stuck in a
have
tree because a
to
board
talk
chased me
about
up it.
gear. We still have to talk about breathing, and we still have some more "Don't Be a Dick" segments. So I just would rather leave them for there.
Okay, all right, that works with me.
So we'll just save this off, and then we'll just leave it for next time.
Yeah. So, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, if you listen to this part of the podcast, if you got this far, I commend you, and I am sorry for the pain. Email me at Dennis@eatsleep oh yeah, you can email me at Dennis@eatsleeplift.com or show@eatsleeplift.com.
Are we still giving out shirts?
No, that was a one-time promotion. Well, I'd like to do
They
other.
made Dennis angry. Everyone made Dennis angry. He's no longer doing it.
No. I think I might do. I'll have to come up with some other schemes because I'd like to do those kinds of things, but I need some.
You
Something
need a shirt-
inventive.
You need to give out shirts that say "Don't be a dick."
Don't be a dick. Spot me. Well, I've had those like a lot of ideas for sure.
Don't be a dick. Don't put your penis in my face.
Jesus. Good God. How did I choose you as a co-host?
Respect the
Good
rules.
Lord. Good Lord. Respect the rules. Oh, Jesus. Yeah. If you have any questions, comments, or if you want to send us videos of you doing stupid shit in the gym, well, not really.
Or any more suggestions? I want to hear suggestions.
Or you want unprofessional critiques of anything.
Or if Dimitri wants to start sending in more pictures, we can keep on putting them up on the blog and
You
on
made that
Facebook.
sound so incredibly creepy.
How?
If you want to keep sending pictures.
I'm just saying. That's an impressive picture.
Yeah, that was very well done. I really liked it.
Look at that picture. I'm looking at it right now.
Well, it's what he does. He touches
That's
up
an
pictures and
amazing
stuff. He's
picture.
a
I
graphic
couldn't do
designer.
that. No way.
I know you couldn't do. You can do a lot of shit.
I know. That's just a good picture.
I
That's very impressive.
You
Look at
know,
the quality of
when
that
it-
picture.
one of the things I want to do too, I want to have a show about um surviving the apocalypse and working out in the apocalypse. I think that'd be pretty
Great.
interesting.
Let's do it.
Like what you would need, like how to survive, like obviously cardio and shit like that. What scenarios would you possibly need strength training for, and how to get your protein in the apocalypse and stuff like that. I think it would be kind of stupidly interesting.
What I'm gonna do then, if you
We
want to do
should
that, I'm gonna dream up like
we
10
should do
different
that.
scenarios.
Do what? 10-minute scenarios?
No, no, no. If you want to talk about that, I'm gonna dream up 10 different scenarios for you, and how would you survive?
Okay. You know, we can do it. We can do it well, I don't know if you're going to be in town or not, but the weekend before Christmas is the weekend after the quote unquote the world is supposed to collapse. Because the 21st of December is on a Friday.
I'm excited.
So I think it should be fitting. If I don't have my gun in my hands, then I think we'll be fine. Or rather, I think we're fine.
Mm-hmm.
So that means the world hasn't gone to shit. But yeah, so I think that'd be interesting. But yeah, questions, comments, suggestions. We're still trying to get our format down. We at least had topics this time written down.
Yeah, but I think if we can help avoid doing them at like 11 o'clock at night would be awesome.
Yeah, we're back into that point where it's a different. It's gonna be difficult now, obviously with the holidays and stuff. And you're fucking flying off to Wisconsin, so are you gonna be riding like horseback and like chopping wood and hunting hog for dinner and stuff, or you don't
You
know?
should know that Wisconsin is the dairy state,
So you're
so
gonna be cattle
I will
wrangling?
be milking cows.
Oh,
I will be churning butter, and I will be
I
making
can
cheese.
I can see you dressed up as an Amish person, just churning butter. That should
Yeah,
be it.
I might be doing it. I'll bring you some of my cheese.
I don't know if you can bring it on the plane, but you can try.
I might bring you some butter.
There's a free in the yard. Yeah, okay. All right. Well, so, yep. This is Dennis and Jason, eastsleeplift.com, podcast episode number 12. Once again, if you have any questions, comments, suggestions, or concerns, or you want to send us stupid shit to talk about, pictures, whatever, show at 8sleeplift.com. And yeah, until next time.
Good night.
Good night. Later, everybody.